to just get worse. J.J. Joe, Baylor Radio Color Analyst, former Baylor quarterback with us on 365 Sports with Paul Craig, and I'm David Smoke. So, J.J., obviously Dave Aranda, after the spring game, mentioned it seemed like that they're going to make a decision like they did a year ago with who is quarterback or QB1. What were your thoughts of what you saw with the play of Sawyer Robertson and also the, I guess you could say, in charge at this time, Blake Shapen?
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. It was a great spring game, I thought. I really liked I'm not crazy about the offense versus defense smoke, but I can digest it. But anyway, I think on the quarterbacks, I was surprised that he felt like he wanted to go ahead and name one, but you know how Coach Aranda is. He swims upstream. But I thought both guys played real well. That's the really first time I've gotten a really long look at old Sawyer, and I liked what I saw, right? Now I will say this, starting out the game, I think the way they had it set up, I think it would look like more of a 1v1, 2v2 kind of deal initially. And so it looked like early when he got going a little bit, maybe he was going against, what I would call sometimes the twos, but nevertheless, he looked really good. I liked his poise. I did like his accuracy. He seemed to really put the ball wherever he wanted to put it. Had one drop on a slant that I thought would be a touchdown. But nevertheless, played well. I thought Blake was in command. A few of the things, with Blake, I thought that late in the scrimmage, I want to continue to see improvement. It just, you can tell sometimes with his feet, the old baseball player pops his head back up. So I like to see what he's going to do in the summer with his quarterback's coach and go from there. But thought they both did well, and we'll see who coach names. Has he named anybody?
No, not yet that we know of.
Well, I would anticipate that, Blake would be named the starter. I mean, I heard that he really looked well throughout spring, played well, really, really took on a leadership role. I heard Sawyer, though, came in and as a natural leader himself. So my gut would tell me, although it's hard to have a gut with Coach Aranda, is that Blake would go in fall as the number one guy. But that doesn't mean the competition stops. You got to come back in the summer and, pick up where you left off.
JJ, what did you think about the defense? It looks like they're a little bit behind the offense at this point. I know, again, hard to tell in that format, but even still that they don't really have playmakers right now.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that defensively, of course, when you lose, what they lost up front, you lose those guys, Puika, you lose Cole Maxwell, you lose Dylan Doyle, you lose Christian Morgan. We know we had a couple of transfer in there as well. I think I forget which one of our safeties, but nevertheless, and then you lose corners. I mean, you're just going to take a step back. I liked what I saw today. I saw that the young man, I think I can say from Oregon, committed to transfer. So that's in a spot that I thought we would probably need a body or two up front. But I think they'll get there. I liked what I saw from College's defense. I did like to see, they play quarters, but I liked the way the corners played. The corners, at least at the snap, pressed a little bit more to take away the easy stuff. I think they'll get there. They have enough bodies and enough talent to get. I like Mike Smith and Mike. I mean, he was all over the place, and it was another young man. Is it the DeSoto? I'm trying to get he played Mike too. I believe he's from DeSoto. Somebody pull that name for me. But he played really well I think as a reserve role there. At that, I think that was the Mike linebacker, Will linebacker spot.
Mm-hmm. JJ, looking at some of the strengths this team possibly has, how much do you think Dominic Richardson adds to that running back room? And then also the true freshman in Bryson Washington. I mean, seems like he's going to play. We know Richardson's going to play, and you add those two to what you hope is an improved and a strengthened Quaylon Jones and Richard Reese. Not a lot to dislike really about that room. What are your thoughts?
Hey, I like it. Last year we kind of got concerned. We had Quaylon in there, but when we had the Squirrel and along with Reese, we were kind of concerned. Like, did they weigh 250 together? We started wondering, right? but both of them, I'm excited to see Reese next year. Quaylon Jones, I think, with the way he runs, he improved a lot. He catches the ball out of the backfield. Strong runner. He's good. I really like him. And I really like what I saw with Dominic Richardson. I mean, he has a really good natural body lean. He seems to fall forward more often than not. He doesn't mess around a lot. I like that in this offense. So I mean, I like the room. I mean, those three guys, and I haven't even got, like I said, to Bryce. I mean, he impressed me. I was surprised. I really did have a good handle on him. But to throw him in there, and you need bodies, good bodies in this offense, because Coach, we're going to run the ball. And when you run the ball, running backs get dinged. And to have that room that deep, if we can just make sure we hold on to everybody, man, it'll look good in the fall.
Devin Bobby is the safety from DeSoto that does play up and is a very sure tackler. He had a lot of interceptions in high school, number 28 on the roster now. Is that one that you were talking about?
No, man, this dude played line. I'm going to get the name before we get off this call, Smoke.
Okay.
But he was making some hits, man. I don't think it was Bobby.
Okay.
I do know Bobby. I don't think it's him, but I'll get that name.
Garrett, you know who it was?
Was it Carmelo Jones?
Yeah, that dude right there.
Yep.
That guy right there was bringing a little smoke, man. I mean, he was. I think they had him listed like third on the depth chart or something. But he was. Where is he from? Is he from DeSoto or Cedar Hill?
He's from West Orange Stark.
Well, dog, I'm way off on it. But anyway, he was. I thought he was up that way. Man, I may have been thinking about Bobby from DeSoto, but whatever. But no, he was. I mean, he was covering space fast, and he was bringing pad level. And that was, and he stood out. Like a lot of times in spring, you're just like, okay, who pops? Mike Smith popped to me, and then that young man popped when a lot of the reserves went a little bit. So I'd be interested to see if he continues to improve and gets a little action in the fall.
It shows him as 32 on the roster, Carmelo Jones, the linebacker. Him. Yeah. So, Aranda made the comments about the quarterback position, and last year when he made the decision between Gary Bohannon and Blake Shapen, it was about being more dynamic and stretching the field. That didn't work out. Do you see Sawyer Robertson being a guy that can stretch out the field more, although it looks like Blake still has the much stronger arm?
Yeah, I think they both can. I think it's just really, can we keep Monterey balling healthy? If you thought about last year, Monterey was really our only guy that scared defenses vertically. So I think, from a couple of young players, I did like Keytron Jackson. I saw him. He didn't catch a lot of balls on Saturday, but I did like, what I saw from him. He is good body. Looks like he runs really good routes. But I think I think they have a couple other deep threats, kids that can run vertical, this year, in addition to Monterey. So I'm hoping that'll allow us to take advantage and really, defenses really can't load up on one guy on a vertical route. But I think Sawyer he showed that he could go vertical with the ball. And I know Blake can. Blake's the only challenge. Sometimes if his feet get weird on him or get baseball-y, I like to call it, for lack of a better word, sometimes he won't get it there. Or as we saw on Saturday, he missed him a couple of times, but I think he needed to miss him because I think Monterey was covered pretty good a couple of times. So I expect they have to be able to throw the ball vertical. If you're going to run the ball, you got to be able to make those secondary players think that you may go over their head, so they can respect that, and then kind of lay off your run a little bit.
With that in mind, JJ, your thoughts on the wide receivers? Keytron Jackson got a lot of positive press throughout the offseason just for his work ethic and the way that he's fit in. But there's a lot of young and unproven outside of Monterey, as you mentioned. He'll be a guy, but how do you feel about Jackson and some of the other young players that are coming along?
Yeah, I like Cameron. I like those young players that I saw. There was one young man, I'm getting older. But he ran. I noticed they ran the fly sweep with him a little bit more instead of Monterey.
Bonner,
yeah. I like that. That was Bonner. I like that because I thought that meant that he had a little bit of the speed and a little bit of, I guess you could say, the wiggle. And I really don't like Monterey running that anymore. I mean, he did it in that Big 12 championship game. I don't need to see him on that anymore, because the only reason I say that is not because of speed, it's because he's a slight guy. And we had some injuries with him last year. And I really think they have to find a way to keep Monterey on the field. And if you can keep them away from, those fly sweeps where a lot of times you're taking maybe an outside linebacker or a star type safety hitting you, it could help. But I did like the receivers, man. I was hoping to see Amani Winfield on Saturday. I hadn't gotten to see him. I know he was out. They had him listed, I think, a second on the depth chart there from one of the positions. I liked what I saw from, I think it's Jordan Cameron, too. He has a good body. I know he's down there. They have talent. The question will be, kind of will they be able to pull it together and get the protection? Can they protect the quarterback with this new line that's going to be in play to allow them time to get the ball to those tight ends and receivers?
JJ, I thought it was interesting. Dave Aranda said during the offseason, right at the beginning of spring, and then kind of touched on at the end, that he was too lax with guys last year. Maybe he should have kicked guys off the team rather than suspending them or holding them out of a practice. And that's, just a realization that comes with experience. But from your standpoint, having been a part of a team, how much, and we were all trying to put our finger on what was wrong last year, like what just feels off, and it certainly seems like that was some of it. But what'd you think about that self-realization by Coach Aranda and how that may benefit or how that affected them last year?
Yeah, Coach Aranda, man, I listened to him. He's very introspective. He told us all year, I think, what he thought. I mean, he would make, during the interviews, I actually listened to him because he doesn't give you coach speak. He says it different, but he gave us, kind of like it led up to, I think, us making the switch to DC, what he felt. I think he said a lot of things, and I really did appreciate what he said about being too nice. Now, I get it. Our mantra is person over player, and it's right. That's exact, and I'm glad that we do that. And I think others are adopted it now too. But at the end of the day, you're a football coach and you're paid to win games. And don't get me wrong, he needs to develop men. That's part of what I would want to see. But if he is a good football coach instills discipline and accountability in everybody he coaches. That's his goal. And if you do that, you're going to produce good men. So I'm anticipating that, man, what he said, that he is going to live up to, and then you will see some changes from him as it relates to how he deals with personnel.
JJ, sometimes spring games can be boring as hell, and people look for a dynamic play or whatever. Monterey had a couple of those. But is a boring spring game actually sometimes a good one? I know Boykins went down, but other than that, it seemed like they were pretty healthy along the way.
Yeah, any word on Boykins yet? I saw that.
I text Baylor and I was told they're going to keep it in house, but I did see a note in our website that that it does appear as if they expect him back and it's not long term. At least that's what I saw from one of those. Like I think it was Grayson or Colt, one of the two.
Yeah, hopefully so. So yeah, Smoke, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, really, at some point. I was saying I was kind of surprised that they were still tackling Dominic Richardson. I think was out there running pretty late, and I was kind of surprised that in that second half they didn't really kind of give the game over to the reserves, let them get a lot of action. But yeah, you want it to be uneventful. When I saw Boykins go down, I was really concerned because it just didn't look good, right? The way he was down, I didn't actually see the hit, but the way he was down, I didn't like it. And then he came back out with the ice on his knee, on his leg, whatever. But nevertheless, it seemed like for the most part they got out of there healthy, and that's what you want, man. You want some exciting plays, Mo, but you want it to kind of be boring in any other way imaginable.
JJ, always great. Can't wait to have you on as we get close to the season, fall workouts, and then season week to week. Appreciate your time and knowledge as always.
All right, guys. I'll take care.
You too. That's JJ Joe, Baylor Radio Color Analyst, former Baylor quarterback, and he seemed to be, I think, maybe of everyone, including us, we've talked throughout the week and others we've talked to, seemed to be okay. He thought somewhat more upbeat about what he saw. He played the game. He knows the game, and that might be a nice little sliver of positivity right there. Coming up, we'll have John